Hello friends, welcome to another Painting with Harold. Tonight what I've done is I've got an 11 by 14 canvas here that I started a painting on yesterday, and that painting I put it in a video if you guys want to watch it. It was going really good. I lost control of it. I got frustrated, which happens, and I let my frustration take over. So I wiped the whole complete painting down. I mean, it's what you can do in oil paint, which you've heard me say a million times. Worst thing can happen is if you had to go back and just completely go back to bare canvas. Well, sometimes it happens, and this is just a video I'm going to do to show you that once you do that, you can always come back and fix it and do another painting on top of it. So what you're looking at here is a conglomeration of colors that was used in that last painting. There's, oh my God, I don't know how many colors in it, but there's quite a few. I don't know how good they're showing up on the camera, but you can see down here we have a green color and a kind of a reddish brown color and a little lighter green all throughout, maybe a little teal up here. But what I'm going to do, and I've got my colors out, and the colors I'm going to use are titanium white, phthalo blue, midnight black, dark sienna, Prussian blue, Van Dyke brown, sap green, cad yellow, yellow ochre, and Indian yellow. And I'm just going to jump right in, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tap me a little white straight on my brush. Not really a lot of paint, just a little white. And I'm going to start, if this is my middle way point, I'm going to start right to the right of it. And I'm just going to come in here and dance on a little white, just like so. Just get it good and bright. And just start working out from there, and just little X strokes, just working out. And as you can see, the white's kind of opaque. It'll cover any other color. Now this paint it's not wet, but it's just kind of tacky because there's a lot of oxide colors in it. So it tried real hard to set up, but some of it still remained wet enough that I did not add a medium. And all I'm doing now is just spreading this white out as far as I can get it without having to reload my brush. Because I'm going to let this spot be I'm going to let it be my light source, and I want it bright, but it don't have to stay that bright. I mean, you can kind of see on the brush how that paint's kind of lifting off the canvas. That's all I'm doing is just making circles and X's, and then every now and then I'll rub. Just doing whatever I can to thin this paint down enough to where we still keep that brightest spot right in the middle and kind of fade out as we go, and still be able to see some of the color under the white. Now you won't be able to see all of the color, but we'll have some of the color still visible. And this is kind of like almost dry brushing, almost like glazing. But, you know, the paint's still a little tacky. It's just not wet. But now the layer of paint we're putting on is. So it's still considered wet on wet. Alright, just like so. And then I will pick up just, I'm talking about a Tic Tac maybe. A little more white, just about a Tic Tac full. And I'll come back in here and give myself a real bright white spot. A little brighter than all the rest. And I will not pull that color out real far. I'll just kind of lightly rub it in. And it'll remain just a little whiter than the rest. Alright, now if you can see that, kind of what we have here is we have it should look like there's a light coming across, but then just kind of breaking over here. Like it's kind of just going up at an angle. So that means that anything past this little break over here is not going to be as dark as anything we got, say, from there over. And with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of clouds up here. And I'm going to let my clouds be, before I put a cloud up there, I'll tell you what we'll do. I am going to pick up a fan brush, and this is a number 6. It's one of my older number 6s. I'm going to go right into some Indian yellow. Let me show you about what I'm doing here. I poured down some Indian yellow and just brought it over in a little spot like that and touched. And then I'm going to take my knife and come up here, pick me up a little white and put beside it like so. That's probably a M&M size. And then I'm just going to take these colors and blend them together, just like so, on my fan brush. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to wipe or keep rubbing this paint down, even if I have to come out to beside it a little, so I don't have it just fully loaded with paint. I want some on there, but not just packed in like if you were going to do clouds on a regular painting. But up here, all I want to do is, from my light spot here, I want to come out and just anywhere this light spot is in here, I just want to come up and just randomly all around it, just kind of make me a little bit of, just a little bit of marks. I mean, you do this like you don't care. You know, just say, I don't really care what I'm doing right here. Because, well, I mean, you'll have to see what it's going to do eventually. And then as you go to running out of paint and it gets a little darker, you can pick up just a smidgen, I mean just a tiny amount of yellow ochre with that same color. And you can come over here and you can see what that yellow ochre kind of did. And if it didn't tone it down enough, you pick up a little dark sienna and come back up in here and just finish it out with that dark sienna and yellow ochre color mixed in. Because what that's going to do is it's going to add, I want this to look like light. It's what I'm going for, that's shining through the trees. that we're going to put in. And like we said when we started, this area over here is going to be darker than this area. So we want to keep that dark color over here. That's the goal. And then we'll go ahead and wash that brush. Very lightly, pick your brush up that had the white on it and just come up here and just diffuse these colors. Just very gently rub over them. That's all we're doing. Just very gently fading them out, making them look distant. Just knocking the color down, just making circles. That's all we're doing. And you can come over here and pick up some of the dark color. Just don't bring it over too far. But it'll help tone this down some. And then you can very gently blend all the color out. Just like so. Then what you're going to end up with is a real bright spot, because these darker colors will make your white even brighter. Like so. Now I said I was going to put some clouds in here, but they're not really clouds. They're not really going to be seen. All they are is going to be just color that you may see through some of it. I mean, chances are you're not going to see very much of it at all. So, but with that being said, to do that, I'm going to pick up just a very tiny bit of sap green. About that much on my brush. That's very little. And I'm going to tap it off on my palette. And then I'm going to pick up about as much cad yellow. And I'm going to come in and tap it off. And I want to show you how I got my brush loaded. I got the brush half loaded. See, this part don't have any paint on it. This part's the only part that's got the paint. And I'm going to come up here, and in a few of these light spots, I just want to tap that green in. And see, it's not really even, it's not showing up real good. I mean, you can see that. And we don't want it to. We want this color to be way off in the distance. Just way off in the distance. And you see how I'm tapping the brush. I'm just tapping it on very loosely. Because when we're done with this color right here, putting this green in different little areas, what I want it to look like is leaves and stuff way off in the distance. And that should turn your Indian yellow into a cloud shape. Because you can come back and put just a tiny amount of white on your brush. And you can come in here and just do a few circles with that white. And it'll lighten some of this green up for you. And if it shows through the painting when we're doing it, it'll just look like little clouds that were lingering behind here. And I'm saying clouds, but they're not really clouds. They're just going to be spots of light. I guess the reason I'm calling them clouds is because of the way we're building them. You know, we build them just like we do clouds. But all they actually are is little light areas that look like back in the woods it picked up a little light on some of the leaves and just dropped a little color here and there. Then we may need us a little light spot down on the bottom, just through here where the light's shining. And then very lightly, we'll come back and we'll blend this out. And see, we still maintaining our dark area. In a paint like this, the dark area is as important as the light area. Alright, leave that little bit of light right there. We always need that. Alright, now I'm going to knock some of this paint out of this 1-inch brush, because we don't have to wash it right now. It's got our colors we're using on it. We can keep it. Alright. Now for my next step, I'm going to pick up a filbert brush. Now, on the filbert brush, well, let me pick my palette up where I can show you what I'm going to do. On my filbert brush, I'm going to come over here into the midnight black, and I'm going to pull it through on both sides. Now, I don't want a lot of paint in here, but I'm going to go back to this pile more than once, and when I do, I'll tell you to, you know, pick up a little more than the last time. But for the first time here, we don't have to, because we're going to add some figures back here that look like trees, and I want these trees to be real thin at first, real light colored, like so, if you can see that on the canvas. And if it means having to go back up and pull it down, you know, I'll do that. I'll do that right now. But at home, you don't have to pull it down that distinct. In fact, and then I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna drag my paint through again, and I'm even gonna tap some of it off the brush, because all I want back here is little, very, very light resemblance of tree trunks. In fact, if you want to, you can pick up well, we'll do that. I'll show you. We'll pick up script liner here in a few minutes. All right, I'm gonna pull through again, and I'm getting into my light area over here a little more. So this may show a little darker. It may get a little more distinct. But over here, I still want to keep just different size looking trees. And I'm telling you, they do not have to be distinct. In fact, the less distinct they are, the better they're going to look in this paint. We can come out here on the outside with one, kind of close it in. Then we'll pick up a little bit more. And I want one dark one out here on this end, because as far as the sun goes, that's going to be the darkest from it. Now I know that you see they're all straight. That's not going to be important until later. Alright, I'm going to knock all the color out of this filbert brush for now, and I'm going to lay it on a napkin to the side, because I will be using it again. Alright, now, I hope that's not, well, it shouldn't be. I don't want these real bright. I mean, I really don't. But then I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab my script liner brush. I'm going to carry it through the thinner. And we'll bring it into the midnight black. Getting a lot of paint on it. Then I'm going to bring it over to a napkin and pull it off on that napkin to where it gets some of that paint off. Then I'm going to come in here with just little distant tree shapes that little smaller trees. And then off the big ones in here, I want some limbs going out. Maybe even some off the little ones. I just want something back in here that looks like distant tree limbs. And there's no rhyme or reason as to how they're shaped. Let them cross up, let them do whatever they want to do. We just pull them in here and just carry them off to the left, carry them off to the right. Go in front of some of your trees, go in behind some of your trees. But all we're doing is we're just adding some tree trunks, tree branches. You can make some of them short, some of them tall. Because as of right now, we're not too concerned with the lay of the land yet. I mean, we'll have to get that way eventually, but right now we're not. We're just not really worried about it right now. Right now we're just building a forest is all we're trying to do. Just distant trees that are back in here and doing whatever they want to do, growing whichever way they want to grow. Because you see that in a set of woods. All right, now once we start getting into our light, we'll hold up right there. Because when we start painting in that light color, we're going to do stuff totally different. But I would say, since, all right, I'm going to pick that filbert brush back up that I had laying over here on the napkin. And I'm going to come through and I'm just going to make a few more distinct tree shapes in here. And since we're getting over in a little bit lighter area, we can pull them down. And you won't see much of it, and that's what we're looking for. Because we want everything in here to be distant. But if you can see behind it, how it's all illuminated behind it, that's what we were going for. And basically the reason I'm going over all of these right now is all of these little bushes and branches or trunks and branches we put in, I want to distort them a little. I want all of this over here to be kind of distorted. I don't want to see a lot of detail in nothing. Now you can distort it with a 1 or 2 inch brush. But this filbert's already got the color on it. So if it accidentally makes a mark somewhere up here, well, we'll call it a happy accident. But you can kind of see how it, by pulling, how it's kind of giving us that, like it's going off in the distance look. And that's what we want. Alright, now, on this side, we're going to have some light pretty quick. So, alright, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll pick up just a very, very little bit of the color, the midnight black. And beside this first one we made, we'll come back up and we'll do another one. And we'll kind of twist him and bend him. We won't let him be a telephone pole. About like so. And then, well, let me show you this right quick. Alright, I'm gonna take my little knife and I'm gonna come in here and pull down a little white. I'm gonna put it right there. It's not much. Then I'm gonna come back up here into my midnight black, pull down a little color, and then come right across my white. And now I got 2 colors on my filbert. I got white on one side, midnight black on the other. And I'm gonna come right up here and very gentle. This is not going to be a hard move at all right here. It's very gentle. I'm going to come down and just pull down another indication of a tree. Then I'm going to go back through my midnight black. And then I'm going to pull down another little indication of a tree. Just kind of wiggle it a little. Then I'm going to go back through my midnight black and back through my titanium white, because I'm getting even closer to my light source now. We may start getting a little more distinct. Just a little. About like so. And again, just a very little bit of the midnight black. Back through the titanium white. I'll come on this side. I want my white pointed toward the light. And I promise I wasn't trying to be a rapper right then. White to the light. And we will come in here and pick up a little bit more. And when I say a little bit more, I'm talking about the same amount that we've been using. Very, very little. We'll come in here and put us in another little tree. And we want it to look like that light's hitting it. Because with that light hitting it, that's what's giving us our depth and our distance. Alright, I want to come right in here. Let a little more light hit that one. And then we won't load the brush up again now, because we're getting further away from our light. We're just going to use what's on here. And the only thing we're going to load on now is maybe a little more to the midnight black. That way, when we pull down over here, we get a little more black than we do light. See how, I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but it just kind of looks like it's getting away more from the light. And we'll pull these down a little further. And I'll show you why in just a minute. And we'll get alright, then over here, I want to pull these down. And the further I come out, the longer I want it. Just like so. I want this one a little longer. In fact, I want all of them a little longer. About like that. Now, that's giving us an illusion of depth in here. And very lightly, I want to pull through. And since that is so much light right there, it just makes that one almost disappear. If you've ever looked at something directly in the sun, all you really get is a silhouette. You don't hardly really see the image too well at all. Just about all you can see is I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do one more small one. White toward the light. We'll do one more small one right here. And we'll kind of leave it to the white side. And maybe one little one right here. And we'll go ahead and close this all the way off, just like so. Now you can see these kind of fade or disappear in the light a little. And that's perfectly fine. All right, and we'll go back here. Now, we took the filbert brush a while ago and diffused them. This time, I'm going to use that 1-inch brush, and I'm just going to pull straight up on these. Straight up. That's all I'm doing. Straight up. And then you can, if you need to, you can come straight down. All I'm trying to do is just diffuse the colors right now. And then you very lightly blend across. Now if you blend across too hard right here, you're gonna offset your trees. They're gonna look like reflections in water. And then I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of white right here. And all I'm doing is tapping that brush straight in. And I'm gonna come at the base of these trees right here. And I'm gonna put just a little bit of color down. All the way across like this. And I'm pulling down where the trees were. Where they're coming out at an angle. That's the same way I'm doing that paint right now. Then I'm gonna knock that little bit of white off. And I'm gonna come back in here on the top of this white. And I want to start really tapping pretty hard around the base of these trees. I want the whitest of it to be at the base of the trees, and then we'll work out from there. And I'll show you how we're going to work the color out. Because all through here we just want to just let the paint come over here and mix with our dark color and fade away. Because remember, this side's our darkest side. And by keeping a lot of light color out of this side, it automatically makes this side lighter. And that's all we're doing, is just coming through here, adding some of the mist on this side. Just want to come in here and tap this out really, really good. And don't worry about the trees. Do not worry about the trees at all. They'll be fine. They're going to take care of themselves. You can see how how we did that. And then we'll come in here and make little circles. A little mist. And then we'll come under that and we'll start tapping to make this a little wider looking. We'll just come in here and start taking this down. And just like everything else, the further you get away from the light, or this light source, the lighter everything starts getting. And we want this to just look like an old, misty type of wooded area that's, kind of creepy looking, really. But at the same time, it's really, really pretty. Because it just looks like the beginning of a really fresh day. We'll come in here and lift this color up real lightly. Kind of diffuse it. Like so. And then just lift it up. And come in here and just kind of rub the rest of the color off your brush. Because the more paint comes off your brush, the darker it's going to get. And it'll kind of blend some of the mist in to where it don't look like it's just chopped off. It'll look like it's floating in here. And that's perfectly fine. But what we're hoping is that what we're hoping is that this stays kind of just kind of misty looking, and I don't know how to explain the effect we're actually going for. But we just want to mist this out to where it's, we don't want it to look like any kind of land back here. We want it to look like mist. And then we'll blend it out again. Just like so. We'll come up, pull it up again. We just want to be careful not to kill that light source, because that light source is really important. All right, now, this next part's kind of fun. You remember well, let me just show you. Remember the Indian yellow and white we made? We're going to come up here and we're going to pull this down a little bit. You see I'm pulling that down just very lightly. A little bit of the sap green. I'm going to bring that sap green in here and just stain that Indian yellow color. See how it stained it? We're going to pull straight down a couple times. Then we're going to set our brush still, just like so, and push forward. Set the brush still and push it forward just a little bit. And see how it's pushing that little ridge of paint up right there? And I'm at an angle here. And I'm just pushing that little ridge of paint up. And that little ridge of paint, by doing that, let me show you, showed up right there on the brush. And that's what I was saying the other day, that a lot of the magic happens on the palette. And that's how it does it. Well, now with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to drop down below the mist just a little. And we're just going to start lightly tapping. Just real lightly tapping. Just like so. Just kind of don't kill all the mist and kind of stay under the trees just a little and just lightly tap across here. That's all we're doing. Just try to keep it. Well, this depends on you entirely. You may want your land to come down. You may not. That's entirely up to you. However you want your lay of the land. I'm just tapping across here because what I'm going to come back and do is it's not going to be really bad. So when you start seeing yourself run out of paint a little, don't go back and load your brush right now. I know that sounds crazy, but come back up here. And that way you can start diffusing this. And just lightly, I mean very lightly, tap this color. That's all we're trying to do. We don't want nothing distinct yet. Nothing. Because right now, we are working like we're being kind of like stealthy. We don't want nothing really obvious yet. We want everything to be just kind of off in the distance looking, and just keep bringing that color down. And you can see you're running out because it's just barely showing up down here. But one thing it's doing is it's keeping you dark. Remember that. The further we get away from the light, we want to stay dark. This is kind of like Don't Kill All the Dark. I think I'm going to have some t-shirts made that say Don't Kill All the Dark. I may even have a couple that say something else. I don't know. Some little painting quips that I know people get sick of hearing. But you'll see once you start painting more and more and more. And I mean, even if you haven't been painting long, you probably see it yourself. The dark color is so important. Now, I know the highlights really come in there and add the color, and the highlights really make your painting real bright, and sometimes they are the prettiest part of it. But if you didn't have those darks, you wouldn't see those. And sometimes the dark's what makes the whole complete painting. That's what gives you your 3D type of effects on some of it. Now I'm not going back into that Indian yellow at all yet. with the green mix. I'm just staying out here working. The paint that's in this brush, I'm just working it out by tapping. And all back in here, it's just staying dark, and that's what we want. But now once you start getting, see how I picked up all of the paint wasn't dry right in this corner. I picked up a little of the dark and carried it back in there. Did you see that? Well, there's some more. Alright, I went picked that little bit up off the canvas, but you can bring it up here off the palette. I'm sorry. You can bring that dark color up here and work it in just different places. But there's some dark color right in that corner. Alright, we got it covered up now. Alright, then we'll tap this color out. Because coming through these woods, you're going to have, you know, that light's going to be bouncing off of off trees here and there. It's not going to be 100% lighted. I mean, it's going to have some dark spots in it. All right, now I'm going to take my 1-inch brush I'm using, and I'm going to tap out as much of this color that's left in this brush. I'm going to tap it out over here on my little paper towel. And I'm going to come in here at the bottom of these trees and just tap. And I want this top line to disappear all the way across. That top line, I don't want it to be real focal. I mean, if you can tell it's still there, that's fine, but at least have it distorted looking. Don't have it like right there. That's entirely too much of a line. All out in here, just tap all of this area. And then lightly blend over. When you get to the trees, you can lightly pull up. You make little circles, little X's, whatever you want to do. Just keep this color real soft. We want this to just be so soft looking. We don't want nothing real harsh in here. Well, there was some dark color right there that pulled through. But that kind of looks like a little shadow running through, so I'm going to leave it alone. In fact, I'll pull it down some and make it look like it's running the length of the paint in here. About like so. Okay. I'm gonna say that's about smooth enough. I hope that camera is picking this up the way it needs to. Alright, now in that last painting I did, what kicked my butt was a cabin. Oh. I got in a hurry, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I got in a real big hurry, and I stopped paying attention to what I was doing. And I lost my canvas. I lost the whole painting by not paying attention. And what we're going to do, or what I'm fixing to do, is I'm going to show you how I should have done that cabin, because it's the way I always do cabins. Don't know why I changed, but I did. I'm going to come right in here. See this tree that's pulled down right here? The last lightest tree we did? I'm going to come over here where we don't have any light, and I'm going to come up into the trees, and I'm going to come across here like so, with a straight line. Then we'll come down over here with a ledge. And then we'll come down over here with a ledge. And then I'm going to bring the back of the cabin down, about like so. Then I'm going to join the roof together right here. And then I'm going to pull it down, just like so. I don't even know if you can see that or not. But what I'll do is I'll pick up my knife and I'm going to come right into the Van Dyke brown. And I want just a little roll of paint on my knife. Very little roll. About like that. Just a very little roll of paint. This is my ledge that I come down on over here. Just like so. This was the roof line. Just like that. And then we come in here and pull this down, just like so. And then we'll need this to come in here, just like so. And that's even going off the canvas, which is fine. Nothing we're gonna cry about. We need this to come up. We need this to come up at an angle across here. And we know that eventually they join up back there. We know that. And if we do it right, we'll sell that illusion that, you know, people will know that. Alright. We'll come down right here. With this line. Now this side is the side that's in the dark, so this side's going to remain dark. It's going to stay good and dark. We'll bring it down. About like so. Now our perspective is going to come in when we start doing our highlights and stuff. We'll come back up here and do a cabinectomy on it and get it lined out the way we want it. Right now we just want to add our dark color to where we know where everything's at. Alright, I want to come in here and pull straight down with our ledge over here. Pull this in, because we always need that eave out here. Like so. We'll get just a little bit more paint. As long as you keep this in little rolls, you should be okay. Then we'll bring our knife in here and we'll sit it right over the roof line here. And we'll bring it straight down. Go back up in here. Bring this color straight down. Because at this point, that's all we got to do. Is just pull this color out. Alright, we'll get us a little more paint. We'll come up here. Now, we can pull this color straight down, across here, all the way across, just like so. We may have to pick up the little knife here in a second. And if we do, we will. And now just like this, we are pulling down. Lord, I done got real quiet again, like whispering is really going to help me make these lines. And we know that ain't going to happen. It's almost like you stop breathing. You go, oh boy. And I don't know why we get so worried about it, because we already know you can brush it off and come back another day and create another painting, because that's what we just did to this one. So, I mean, we know you can do it. But for some reason, we're pretty rough on ourselves. I think an artist is his own worst critic. Alright, we'll come in here now. And I'll start pulling all of this color down with the little edge. Try to keep it all as straight as I can across here. Because like I said, we're going to do our perspective here in a few minutes. Alright, let's go up here and get our top roof line established. About like so. And our back roof line, because we know that's going to come off the canvas, and we know that's going to eventually meet back there with the other part. Just like so. We'll come in here and pull our front down. Just kind of clean our roof line up. We just need this side to remain dark. Alright, now, setting off in the woods like that, if you got a little cabin that's setting off in the dark, chances are the roof is not going to be real visible on this side. It's going to be a dark color. So I would say let's make that roof a midnight black, and we will add a little phthalo blue, and that way it may keep it in a shadow type color, because blue always helps you with your shadow. So we'll just loosely mix these two colors, and I'll use about an M&M of each. I used a little, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to pull it flat and pick up just a little roll. And we'll come up to the top here, and I'll start tapping across just real loosely. There's not a whole lot of color difference here at all, actually. It's kind of as dark as the But even at that, I'll work it down, because it is a good dark color, and that's good. And we'll bring it on off the edge. We'll come across here. The one thing we don't want, or I don't want, is I don't want none of this green showing right now. But now, if you're ever doing a roof that you want moss to be on, that's all you got to do is go in there and tap you on a little green color here and there. All right, about like so. I just want to bring this forward. Now you got to imagine that when you're doing this, how that roof runs. See your roof line right here? How it runs back at that angle? That's not a real steep angle, but it's still an angle, and you still want your roof line up here to maintain that. Don't make these straight across. You know, you got to maintain that little angle you got going right there, or your roof won't look like it's running back. I hope it makes sense to you. Sometimes I wish I could say things a little clearer. It's about perspective. You know, you want your roof to look like it's all running the same color or the same direction. And that's how you do it, is by keeping this little line here, you know, that same directional line right here. See how it's going off at an angle across here? You just don't want it to be too much of an angle, and you want it to be enough of an angle. And that's what sells that illusion. That is going off in that direction. Now, if you had to bring a highlight color on top of that, well, that highlight color would just send that to where there's no way you couldn't tell. But I really don't think I'm going to add a highlight color on this paint, on this roof. I really don't. I'm going to leave it just like it is, because I see a little something we can do here to liven things up here in a few minutes. Right now, all I want to do is I want it distinct. Just like so. Now, I know I'm probably taking entirely too long again, but I don't want to rush this and lose my building again. I'm going to use a little bit more of the midnight black. Enough to get a little bitty tiny roll of paint. And I mean, this is very little. That much. And I'm going to come up here under my eave, and I'm going to pull this color in, just like so. Just very lightly. That way that eave will have a good shadow under it. Just like so. And then we'll bring the roof line up like that. Now, what I'm going to do now is I am going to use, if I can find it, I'm going to use a flat brush. And this is a, what they call a 5/8. It's just a little flat brush. And I'm going to come in here dry, and I'm going to clean up all my lines and all my colors. That way they are all, everything's kind of straight, and pull a lot of this color out to give us a good little work area here. That way we can kind of see where how we get everything working. Because this corner right here is very important. Because that corner is where everything starts going back the other direction. So that's the corner you do not want to lose. And this corner here is equally as important, because that's actually the end of your cabin over here. Okay? And then to smooth this roof down just a little, I'm going to drag across very lightly. Very lightly. I'm going to let that brush just kind of wiggle and give our roof an effect up here. We want to bring it over just to where it stops. Up here. Just like so. That's all we need to do. We'll wash that brush, we're pretty much done with it. Then I'm going to pick up a little tiny flat brush. Now I don't know what number this is. I think it's a number 8. And it's a lot smaller. I'm going in and I'm going to pick up a little bit of dark sienna. I'm going to add a little yellow ochre. And they don't have to be really mixed thoroughly. Then I'm going to add in just a tiny bit of white. Tiny bit. Alright, and I'll load him up. And I'm going to come up here and very, very lightly, I'm going to start right in the center. Can you see that? I'm going to start right in the center. Let me make a mark. That way you'll see where I'm starting. I'm starting right there. See that little mark I made? I'm going to start right there. And I'm going to start pulling straight down this color. Then we'll go right on the other side of it, make another little mark, and start pulling it straight down. Just like so. That's all I'm doing. So then I'm going to come up to my eave, and I'm just going to work down all along that eave, pulling this color down, just like so. Just pulling it straight down. Just make sure it. Now, I mean, we don't really need a real light color, but we don't need a real dark color neither, because this is the side that's going to have a little light shining on it. It's not going to have a tremendous amount of light shining on it, but it'll have some. Like so. Alright, now I guess to really make that pop, we'll pick up a little more white, because we do need it to be lighter. But like I said, we don't want it to be on fire up here either. So we'll come across here at a line. We'll go ahead and outline everything first. And we'll go back and pick up a little more color. And then start pulling straight down out of that. Yeah, that looks better. To me, it's just better. Because the further it gets away from that light source, the darker it's going to get. Now this kind of grayed up a little bit. And it did that because it picked up all that brown. And that don't look too bad, really. Because I think that's plenty light enough for the front. In fact, all I'm going to do is knock this color out over here on my napkin. And I'm just going to make one single pull back here on the dark side. That's all I'm going to do on it. That way it maintains a good darkness. Let me fix this little lip right here. We pour down a little of that shadow color. Just like so. And then to make our door, I'll come back in here and pick up a little more of the midnight black. And we'll put him a little door over here. Just like so. Because he'll need to be able to get in and out. And we'll add him a couple of windows where he can see if the bear tries to get to him. About like so. And we'll put him one on the side. Back here in the bedroom in case old bear tries to be smart and come back here one night. But even at that, we still want that to be on the dark side. Alright. And we'll pick up a little white, just a very little. And I will put just a little bit of white on the boot of my big knife on the round heel. And I'll come up here to the little door. And we'll add just a little bit of white to outline it. We'll do the same with the windows. Just a little mark there to let you see that, hey, there's a window here. Nothing real distinguished. Then we'll add one out here on the end of our cabin here. Just like a little light coming through, hitting us along the end out here. Then we'll add a little bit on this window back here. Now, the only reason I added some back there to that window is just so you can see it. I know there ain't no light back there, but alright, now we do need some lines in our cabin to make it look like wood. So to do that, I'm going to come back into the Van Dyke Brown, and I'll add just a little bit on this little edge, and we'll come up here and we'll pull us in some lines here and there. Give us some, just to give us some like wood planks come working through. I hope those are showing. I'll do a couple darker to where they may show up a little better. About like so. Now if you're viewing this canvas or this painting from where I'm sitting, you can see those. But You may not be able to on the camera, but all I'm doing is just pulling this. See if I can get them a little darker where you can see them. I'm just pulling these them lines through, just like that. Just pulling it through. Oh, maybe you can see that. That's all I'm doing. Now, what we ended up with by doing that is we have a little cabin that's just kind of hiding back in the woods there a little. And all we got to do to have a little path in here is pick us up a fan brush about like so, or you can use a small one if you want. It's entirely up to you. But I'm gonna go right into. Let me get my palette up here. I'm gonna go right into some Van Dyke Brown. Can you see this? I'm just gonna pull right into some Van Dyke Brown on both sides. That's all I'm gonna do. Then we'll come up here, and I'm going to start right back here beside this little tree. And I'll just start working this back and forth. Just back and forth. Just like so. Just back and forth. All the way across the canvas. And I'm trying to keep it as level a stroke as I can across here. And then they get wider as it gets closer to the end out here. Just let it get wider and wider as it works its way all the way off the canvas. Just like so. And then once you get that color laid down, you can come back up here and kind of do a little U. Just a little small swaying motion. About like so. Just make sure you get that color down. That's all you want to do. Alright, now before we highlight that and start doing our grass, we got to come up here and do a cabinectomy. We want to come in here and pull this color straight down like so, to where it sends that cabin back and this way, just like so. And I guess to put a little highlight on that, we'll drag this brush that's already got the Van Dyke Brown on it. We'll drag it to a little white, just a very little white, not much at all. And we'll come back up here and just very loosely, because this is going to be the end back here that picks up the most light in our little path. And then the further back we go, the darker we'll let it get. Just like so. Just let it kind of maintain that darkness back here. And then the light up here at the front, and it'll just look like little light glistening through here on our path. Just try to keep straight as we can. About like that's all we need. I think that turned out fairly well. I will knock all the color off this brush, but we're going to save this brush because we're going to use it again here in a minute. Now I want to pick up a clean, dry 1-inch brush, and let me show you what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to pull out some cad yellow, and I'm going to lay it down right here. Just lay it down. Then I'm going to pick up a little green and lay it down right here. And that's what I'm looking for. Just looking for that yellowish green color that we're going to use for grass. And we're going to do a little trick in here in a second that it's not really a trick. It's just a little something you pick up the more you paint. Alright, and I'm tapping this brush on just like I did earlier, to where you tap it and then lay it down and push up, and it puts that little ridge of paint on your brush. I'm going to come right in here at an angle to where just the end of it's touching first, because this color is it's gonna show up, but we're going to tap so light that it's not going to be real prominent. It's not going to be just, whoa. We just want to do it from under our trees. And remember, you lay it land. And as you come out from under your trees, just come up to your path and kind of just stop. Just keep your lay of the land how you want it. You know, if you want your lay of the land to have a little ridge, just turn your brush a little. That's entirely up to you. I'm keeping mine more level today, which is unlike me. I normally put a little ridge. And see, I picked up a little bit too much green right there that time. No, all you got to do to work that out is just keep working it. Just keep working it. Come up to your cabin. That's all you got to do. Just keep working it, and try to keep your paint as straight as you can back here. That's all you got to do. We want this line, or I do. I want mine to look level back here. I don't want mine coming down at a real funny angle. Alright, then keep in mind that the further we go back, the darker we're going to get. That just happens. But I just want to keep my land level back here. I don't want to any real big major league heels through here. Alright, then we're going to bring this right up to the side here. Now it's going to pick up a little of that Van Dyke brown when you touch the side of the cabin right here. And let me show you what you do when it does that. Alright, we're going to pick a little bit of it up right here. See how it did that? And when it does that, just tap it on out. And it'll make it look like the shadows out here. It'll make it look like the side of your cabin is casting a shadow onto the rest of your grass. Then we'll come back across and get this front perspective laid in here. And we just want to keep all this as level as we can back in there. Just remember that spots back in here get darker. Just don't forget. Alright. Then on this side, we'll do the same thing. Same identical thing. Back here we want to be able to see it. We want to come out at an angle. Or keep it, I want to keep mine straight. Just keep a straight line across here. And just bring it up to your path in different places to make it look like it's grass growing on your path. That's all we're looking for. And then the further you go back, the darker it gets. And you just let that paint work off the brush the further you go down. And then back in here, if it goes to getting too light, we'll pick up some more green. Just a little. Just like that, that's all we're doing. It's just working this color out. Trying to stay as straight as we can through here. We'll hit it with a little highlight here and there. We don't need much, just a little. But that highlight color kind of helps it blend in some. But by keeping the green in it, it still maintains our dark down here. And that's what we want. About like so. Just like that. And then come in and kind of blend that color in a little. Now we're going to pick up just a little bit of the white that we had out earlier. And we're going to come right back in here and just tap little rays of light along the path here. Just tap them out here and there where it just looks like the light's hitting just along the way. And that's all we really need for that, because we're going to come back up here and I'm going to knock that color out, and then we're going to come up here and work this white in just very gently. Just kind of work that white in to where it still shows light and little spots like that, and then you can skip, come down and do a little white right there, and it just looks like it's just letting light shine through in certain places, just like so. Then maybe a little down by the path, not much. And then the further you come back, the darker we want it to be. Just like so. Then we're going to pick up just a tiny bit of dark sienna. And I'm going to come out the cabin door right here. And I'm just going to tap a little brown on. Just like so. And then I'll knock that color out, and I'll come back up here and tap it in. Just tap it in, let it blend in with the grass, just to look like a little area of where you walk from the house down. And I'll put just a little green on top of that because that's a little more brown than I wanted. About like so. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I like that. That looks more like a little path. Alright, I think I am through with the 1-inch brush for now. I will pick that fan brush up that I told you we was going to use again. And I will bring it right into, I'm going to put a little bit of thinner on it, just a little bit. And I'm going to bring it right into the cad yellow. Now it had that dark Van Dyke brown color on it. So this color is, it's actually a little darker than I want. So I'm not going to use that color. I'm going to wash it. I'll pick up that other fan brush I already had in the thinner. And I'm going to remove that dark color that just got into my yellow paint. That would work in other places, but it's not working for what we're fixing to do. It's just too dark. Alright. Now I'm going to come back into my green, sap green, and I'm going to pull it right into the cad yellow like we've been doing, with just a hint, a drop of thinner. Tap it on the brush real good. Now I want to come up here at the bottom of the cabin, and I just want to lightly pull up around the bottom of the cabin, just very lightly. Just very lightly. This don't have to look. This don't have to look like it's a tremendous amount, but I do want it to. I do want it to have some. Just looks like grass growing in front of it there. Or basically, what we did was basically just done away with that hard line. And then on the back side, we'll come in and put our shadow in. Just like so. And I did that with a little brown. And I'm going to take a little blue. And I'm going to tap that blue in, phthalo blue. Just like so. Right, just like that. And that gave us our shadow from our cabin. Now in some worlds, that's a complete painting. Some people can go as far as bringing in another big tree, or two, or 3 big trees. I think I will. I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave it alone. I kind of like the solitude of it being out by itself, up against that little wooded area with the path going back. Because this effect worked out pretty decent. I mean, a couple more trees, all it's really going to do is, I'll talk myself into it. See, I sit right here and talk myself into it. Alright, I'm going to do one more tree. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. If y'all made it to the end of the video right here, if y'all made it this far, then you can tell me, Harold, you should have quit, or Harold, I'm glad you did that. It turned out good. But that's what I'm fixing to do. I'm going to go ahead and add a big tree. I will add it all the way the whole distance of the painting. And see, the thing about it is, once you add that big one, there's always that question remaining: does he need a friend? Because one thing Bob taught all of us is they always need a friend. Always. Bob said everybody needs a friend. So, okay, friend. You're not going to be as big as your buddy, but we'll let you join the show. We'll go ahead and add them. You always used to say this is your bravery test. Well, I won't disagree with him right there. Because it is that. Alright, now I will take my script liner brush and I will go right into the Van Dyke Brown that we just used to make the tree with. And I will come in and I'll give him a big limb running off that way. And I'll come in and run it off that way. Then I'll bring one off that way. And up through here. And up through there. And then off through here. And I think in order to sell this illusion, it's going to have to have a few leaves on it. All right, now to highlight it, I'm going to pick up this Indian yellow color and white mixed together, and I'm going to come right through here, let that sunlight hit it in a couple of spots. It ain't got to hit it everywhere, but it's going to hit it in a couple places. We'll let it zing off of it, just like that. We'll let it hit its buddy back here. It may not hit him as hard, but it's going to hit it in a couple places, just like so. And we'll just tap these colors in. And I'll flip my knife and I'll just tap these colors on in, just like so. Add a little texture. That's all it's doing. Then I'll pick up a little of the phthalo blue and bring it in on the back side, just a little reflective light. Just enough that you can see it back here, just like so. And we'll bring a little over here on this one, give him a little, just like so. There's not a ton of detail here, but there's enough to see what's happening. Alright, then we'll go and tap this color here on out and let it get darker as it works its way down. Just like so. Maybe pick up just a little bit more for right here. Just a little. Let that light hit it. Alright, now I will use what? What will we use for this? I'm going to use, no I ain't, I'm not. I'm going to clean on 1-inch brush. I got one clean right here. I'm going to use, let's see, what would be a pretty color? I'm going to put some dark sienna on the brush, tapping it straight in, and some Van Dyke green. More Van Dyke green actually than the dark sienna. And I'm going to add a little cad yellow, a little yellow ochre to that color, just to give it a different vibe altogether. Then I'll come up here, and I'm just going to start lightly tapping on this color in different places. I am just going to make sure I don't kill that light spot. Sounds like my Dachshunds are giving Mama a rough time again. I hear her up there hollering at them. Right, we just want to take this color and just touch it here and there. Give us a little tree shape. That's all we want to do. We just don't want to. We don't want to come in here and kill all our light, whatever we do. But at the same token, we don't want to stop the light too fast to make it look like we're trying too hard. And then we'll put that little tree on off the side like so. And then I will clean this brush. Beat the devil out of it. And I think a real pretty highlight color to start with would be Indian yellow and white to start with, because that is a real bright sunlight color. And to do that, we want that color out here around the light to make it look like it's on fire out here. Just like so. All out in here, just lightly tap. Just make it look like that sunlight just zinging through there on them limbs. Maybe a little touches right in here as it shines through, maybe right in here. Now it's not going to hit everywhere, I can tell you that. But there's going to be some spots that's going to zing through and touch this tree. And it may even touch this one back here a little. May touch right through here a little where there's a little bit of, I don't think it's going to touch many more places than that. Alright, then we will go into the green and cad yellow mix. And we'll pick that color straight up onto the brush, the same brush. That's going to give us a light green color. And we'll come back up here. Let's get a little more green in that. Just a little. We'll come back up here and touch along the highlighted colors. And what do we want to remember? We want to remember, dare not kill all the dark. We've got to have some of the dark color in here to sell this effect. We'll just bring some of it over into your highlight color. And that maybe give you that 3D effect. Just don't kill all the dark. Just like so. We'll come up in here and just here and there. Make it look like it's just that much lighter out on the ends. That's all you want to do. Just like so. Just don't kill all the dark. Alright. Don't think we killed all our light. I think we're okay. I do. I think we're okay. I don't think we killed all our dark. I don't think we killed all our light. I think that is going to pretty much wrap this one up. And just like that, I will take my script liner, and today I am going to sign in white. I'll put it right through this white. I'm going to come right down here in my path, put a little H down here in the corner, and then I'm going to come along the outside edge of my tree over here and just give it that little bit of sunshine zing. And then I'll do the same on the side of it. Just give it that little bit of highlight. And then back in here I'll add a couple little white sticks and twigs, because there's light shining back in here, and you always have them in the forest. About like so. And I will call that a done painting. And that's basically how you fix a blow up. And I had some pretty good suggestions as to what people would have done, and I'd already made up my mind, that I was going to do a little wooded cabin scene. And I hope y'all enjoyed this. It's by far not one of my best paintings, but it should show you how you can come back after you mess up something and fix it. And that's basically all I was trying to do. I want to thank y'all so much. The channel is growing, and I'm not a real patient person, and I know that it should probably. I'm gonna do this while I'm talking to you. I'm just gonna tap the fan brush to get this texture. I probably shouldn't worry about it as much as I do, because it's going to take a little time. But with that being said, I am not a patient person. So if you guys are enjoying what I'm doing, just do me a favor and just kind of like and share and help me get my name out. All it's going to do is help me. And like I said, I have got a guy coming. He's either coming Monday or Tuesday. And he said he was willing to help me with my videography, as far as making a few changes and getting a few things done in it that should improve the quality of the videos. Because I don't know. They're not, I don't think they're terrible, but I do need a little more professionalism in them. And we'll work on that. I told y'all when I started that I was a rookie. And I'm going to keep maintaining honesty with y'all. I'm learning this. And I got to tell you, I'm loving it. I am absolutely loving it. And I can't thank y'all enough for all the help. I really can't. And all the comments I'm getting. People are finding me on Facebook. The name is Harold Weeks. I'm not going to try to keep that a secret. They're finding me on Facebook and adding me as a friend and sending me friend requests and private messages. And we're talking, we're having conversations about painting. And that, oh man, I am loving it. I'm telling you, to have somebody to talk shop with is awesome. Because when I'm sitting there and I'm painting, I feel like I'm painting with somebody. And that, to me, it's just, that's what makes me do this. I'm doing it to be happy, and if painting don't make you happy, then why are you doing it? If you don't enjoy doing something, don't do it. Let me get off the soapbox. I love y'all. God loves you more. If I can help you in any kind of way, I do sell Bob Ross products. If you're having trouble getting your hands on something, with me being a CRI, I can probably get it for you and work it out to where I can get it shipped to you. And if I do make any profit at all, it'll be a small margin. Because as you know, you got to buy canvases, you got to buy paint, you got to buy easels, you got to buy thinner. And all of that helps. So, that being said, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Hopefully I'll have another one tomorrow. I don't know about Monday, because if he shows up Monday, we're probably going to spend a lot of time trying to learn the ins and outs of videoing and doing some editing work and stuff like that. I'm just going to shut up and with that say thank y'all very much. I'm happy to call y'all friends, and y'all have a blessed day.